Hi all, it's me, Fuzz Piney.
Look at the front where it says Ames real big.
Hi y'all, thanks for tuning in. Got a fun video for you from back in August at Preserving Underground, which is a concert venue in the Pittsburgh suburb of New Kensington. A couple friends, bands of mine, they came to Pittsburgh to do a show there. My friends in Starkill from Chicago, Illinois. They were on their way to Massachusetts for a metal fest, and they put together a small tour on the way there, and Pittsburgh happened to be one of those dates. So it was really nice being able to see them for the first time in 6 years. I'd seen them last right as COVID was hitting the world and shutting everything down, and it happened to be a Preserving Underground as well. So it was kind of like a sad thing. It was a fun concert, and then, you know, the whole world changed in just a blink of an eye. And then, you know, with me living out here in the Pine Barrens now, it was kind of like a farewell concert from Pittsburgh. It was like I'm leaving Pittsburgh with a bang, even though I go back and forth over there for work still. But I live out here now, so it was an awesome last concert. So it was kind of bittersweet, but it was a lot of fun and full of energy. There were 3 bands on this bill, 2 bands being from the Pittsburgh area, one being called Dematus. They're from Westmoreland County area. They're awesome as heck, and they have some good music. And then my friend Bill, who's the drummer for Ghostlight Labyrinth, they were the second band on stage, and they're from right here in Pittsburgh as well. Well, not here where I'm doing this intro, but yeah, they're awesome people, and Bill's been a good friend of mine for years, and actually went to KMFDM with me in Cleveland and met up with me in Pittsburgh back in the fall of last year. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, awesome bands all around. They put on some really good music. All 3 bands did. And Starkill came out with so much energy and force that when they came out on stage with their very first song, they had so much power going that they blew the power to all of their equipment. They lost their rack and everything, and their guitars went out and the lights went out, and they finished the song. You know, they pulled it off, and Sarah just kept on singing. Parker just kept on playing guitar, and Tony's trying to get the power to come back on, but they just kept going with it. And when they got it back on to start their second song, it was a hell of an awesome night. So Tony, if you're watching this, thanks for fun, and thanks for shouting me out and making this show for me. I appreciate you, buddy. And well, it was a lot of fun. I'll just say that. And well, what am I waiting for? Let's go out to Preserving Underground and enjoy some music from Dematus from West Newton, Ghostlight Labyrinth from Pittsburgh, and Starkill from Chicago, Illinois. Also, you'll notice that some of the footage is a little bit grainy. My friend Kevin was there, and he asked me to film a few of their songs as well with his phone, so I did, and then he sent me the files, and since they were large, they were slightly compressed, so the quality's not as good as my footage, but the footage that I got from him, and some of the footage he even filmed, I credit him in the bottom of the screen, so you'll know which ones are from Kevin and which ones are from me. But yeah, it was an overall awesome night with good company. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for Starkill. Tony on this tour said something which really struck a good nerve, and I full-heartedly agree with him. They have what they call the 10 or 10,000 rule. Whether you're playing a show in front of 10,000 fans or a show in front of 10 fans, you give the fans the same experience no matter what. And that's why I like these guys a lot. They have a lot of energy. They're all over the stage, all over the place. And it's just all around fun and really good people. So you'll see that in this video. So without any further comment, let's go out to Preserving Underground and enjoy some metal from 3 awesome bands. Enjoy.
our film festival. We had to write this song in a short period of time, and this is what we came up with. And luckily, we won Best Song.
You wrote it in 3 hours.
Yeah, pretty much wrote it in 3 hours. But this next one is called Black Monday. Check it out on YouTube. We have an awesome movie and short film to go with it.
Heck yeah!
We have shirts, mugs, guitar picks.
Hell yeah.
Coming up next to tear this shit up.
Oh yeah! Yeah!
It's called Detonate.
Yes!
Folks, real quick,
At some point during changeover, we lost power to our rack, which controls our guitar channel switching. We're gonna fix it. Give us 1 second. We are Starkill from Chicago.
Hell yeah!
It's been 6 years since we've been out here. Almost 6 years since our last playing anywhere on the east of Chicago. It's great to be fucking back.
Thanks for coming back.
We appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the metal. Make some fucking noise for the guys.
everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. Fun time as always. It was a really bittersweet ending for concerts for me in Pittsburgh. I know there's some other ones popping up here and there, and if I can make it to one of those shows when I'm in Pittsburgh, I'll try to, but I can't guarantee I can. I am trying to move all operations over here to New Jersey and be here completely and get a job and everything out here and finally settle in. Like I said, I live here now with Fuzz, and it's been a blast so far, and we have a lot of awesome places to see. And with fall coming up here, I know she's going to be wanting to get outside a little bit more often because she'll be able to, and we'll be able to do videos out here together, hopefully, and hopefully concert videos down the stretch. We'll see what happens. Don't want to make any guarantees, but if we can, we will. And I know Starkill, when I was talking to them, they said they'd like to get back out to the Philly area, so maybe we'll see them out here one of these days. That would be a lot of fun. But anyway, thanks, Tony, for dedicating the show to me. I appreciate you, man. And everybody else in Starkill, Dematus, and Ghostlight Labyrinth, thank you for a fun, awesome night. It was a lot of fun. I didn't want the evening to end. And, well, can't wait to do it again sometime. But anyway, on that note, I'm signing off now. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. If you enjoyed the video, give this video a thumbs up. And check out all three bands here on YouTube. I'll link all of their channels here. And, well, till we meet again, take care and stay awesome, everyone. Bye.